Hello and welcome to a new lesson for English learners in grade 7. Our today's lesson is a year in review. My name is Sanja Božinović and I will be your English teacher. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to talk about your experience of learning English in this year, and you will be able to write about your experience of learning English in this year. For this lesson, you need your notebook and a pencil, and you also need a laptop, a tablet, or a mobile phone with the internet connection. And you will need a QR scanner on your mobile phone because there will be a code to scan in the lesson. It's the end of this school year, and the end of a school year is a perfect time to stop and think about how much you have improved your English in one school year. That's why at the beginning of this lesson there will be 7 questions. 7 because you are grade 7, and all 7 questions will be about different aspects of learning English and different things that help you learn English better. If you are working in front of your computer, please stop this video and open your notebook because I will ask you to write some questions and some answers into your notebook. Question number 1. What is your favorite English word? Please think about a word that you have learned this year. And answers should be in your notebook, remember? Questions are: can you explain in English what that word means? Can you use that word in a sentence? Please pause this video and write your word, write your explanation, your definition, and write a sentence with that word in it. When you finish, stop and think. How do you learn new words? When you learn new words, how do you revise? How do you make sure that you don't forget the words? Do you use a dictionary? And how? Do you use a paper dictionary or do you use an online dictionary? And how do you use the dictionary? Just to look up a word that you don't know or more? The last 2 lines on the slide are a reminder. There is a link there, and it's a link to some games, vocabulary games. If you have some free time, you can play games and they can help you learn new words and have a lot of fun with words. Question number 2 out of 7. What is the most difficult grammar rule that you have learned this year, this school year? If you're working on this lesson in front of the computer, please pause the video and think. Can you explain that grammar rule to yourself? Can you give an example? Why do you think you have learned that rule? And then, when you finish working on your example, stop and think about the questions on the right-hand side of the slide. How do you learn grammar? How do you revise the grammar that you have learned? Do you use graphic organizers for the rules and the examples and the exceptions? Do you have a paper grammar book? Or do you do grammar exercises online? It's important to learn grammar because if you have learned the grammar rules for this year, you will be able to talk, you will be able to write, and you will understand better when you read and when you listen to speakers in English. Grammar helps you. Question number 3. Time to sing. What is your favorite song in English? It's time to stop and to write answers into your notebook. Do you know the lyrics of that song by heart? Can you explain what the song is about? Can you explain why you like it, what you like about it? And can you sing it? Write your answers. Feel free to sing for a while and come back. There is one more thing we have to do. We have to pause and think about how singing songs that have lyrics in English helps us learn English better. Have you ever tried learning English with songs? There are some very good web pages that can help you. One of them is called Lyrics Training, and I recommend it. Question number 4. It's time for a film. What is the best film in English that you have seen this year? Write the answers in your notebook. Can you speak and write about that film and say or write about the background info, about the plot, the story, what happens in the film, about other interesting things related to that film, like the actors, actresses, special effects, music, etc. Can you explain in English why you like that film? Make your notes in your notebook. Try explaining what you can in English about your favorite film in speaking, and try writing about your favorite film. When you finish, think about the question which is at the bottom of the slide. The question is, how do films help us improve our English? Question 5. What is the best book in English that you have read this year? I hope you read a lot in English, that you read short stories and even novels. Can you speak about the book that you liked? Can you write about the book? Can you write a book report in English? And can you explain to a friend, to a teacher in English why and what and why you liked about your favorite book? When you finish writing your notes and trying to explain what and why you like about your favorite book in English, stop and think about the question number 2. How does reading help you improve your English? A piece of advice on the right-hand side. If you want to find a good book for the summer, there are different places you can go to look for books. You can go to your school library and ask your librarian. You can ask your English teacher. Then there are online libraries with books to read online and audiobooks. And there are web pages with free books. The most recent free book that you might like is the newest, the last book by J.K. Rowling. She is the author of Harry Potter books, and she's written a new book, and you can read it chapter by chapter on her webpage for free. I recommend it. Question number 6. It's about games. I hope you like games too. There are some games in which you have to speak English. There are some games in which you have to read a lot in English. But there are some games in which you don't speak, don't read, but you can talk and write about them in English. So games can help you in different ways. There are 3 illustrations here. I hope you recognize the Minecraft scene. I hope you have tried the augmented reality. And I hope you are not too unhappy when you see game over sign, because you have to be very careful how much of your time you spend playing games. The task for this slide is talk about your favorite game. You can write your notes into your notebook, that they will help you organize your talk, and say why you like playing your favorite game. When you finish practicing your speech about your game, stop and think. How do games help you improve your English? Can you explain it in English? The last question is about poetry. What is the best poem in English you've read this year? Think about it, write the title, and think about how you use poetry to improve your English. My two ideas are you can read poetry aloud. It helps your pronunciation, and you can learn by heart if you like a verse or if you like the whole poem. When you finish writing about your favorite poem, stop and think about how poetry helps you and write some notes. You will need them for later on. I hope you will read a lot of poetry this summer and you will continue reading poetry. You can borrow books of poetry from your school library, from the city library, or you can go online and find some web pages with free poetry to read or to download. I recommend the American page poets.org. You can find some poetry for all people, and you can also find some poetry for teenagers there. Have you tried writing poetry? On this slide you will find 7 different styles, 7 different ways that you can use to write poetry. I hope you have already tried some of them. Like, for example, a blackout poem. You take a piece of writing in English and you black out and leave only some words which form your new poem. And you can draw or paint an illustration. You can turn that page into an illustration too. Then haiku poem. It's a very short form, easy to write. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables, and 5 again. You can write an acrostic poem. Along the left-hand side, you write a word, which is the subject of your poem. You write about that. And you write every line beginning with one of the letters. And the poem is about that term that you have on the left-hand side. Or maybe the Cinqueen. It's a short form again. In the first line you write only one word, and that word is the subject. That is what you're writing about. In the second line you write 2 words, usually 2 adjectives. In the third line you write 3 words, usually giving more information about what you are writing about. Then 4 words. You show how you feel, for example, and then in the last line you write a synonym or a similar word and you round up your poem. Or a diamond poem. 1 noun in the first line, 2 adjectives, 3 verbs, 4 nouns, and then again 3 verbs, 2 adjectives, 1 noun. Or 5 senses. You write about something that interests you through all 5 senses. That thing that you're writing about looks like, it sounds, it smells, it feels, it tastes. Or if you don't like any of these, you can always write free verse. I hope you will try one of these styles and write a poem about your learning English, about this school year. It's time for a treasure hunt. I'm sure you have your English book. You had it for the whole year. And I'm sure you read a lot of interesting lessons in it and learned a lot of English with the help of your book. The time limit for this activity is only 15 minutes. Why? Because you know what you have in your book. It's a reminder kind of activity. You will look again and check that you remember well what you have learned from your book. Your task is to find 7 of each of these items. 7 treasures. 7 new words. Can you find 7 words that were new to you at the beginning of this school year, but now you have learned them? Can you find the part or the parts of your book with the grammar rules? Which grammar rules have you learned with the help of your book? Can you find 7 words which were very difficult to pronounce, but you have learned to pronounce them correctly? Can you find 7 words which were very difficult to spell, but now you know how to do it? Can you find, or can you remember and then check 7 different topics that you discussed with your teacher and you found texts about them in your book? Can you find 7 facts about different cultures? Like, for example, people in the United Kingdom, people in the United States of America, some stories from Australia, some stories from New Zealand, some stories from different parts of the world, different cultures. Can you find 7 of them in your book? And can you find 7 useful tips how to learn English better? Because on many pages of the book there are tips that help you use your time and energy better to learn English better. I'm sure you will enjoy going through your old book of English within these 15 minutes, and you will find all the 7 treasures. Have fun! You have answered 7 questions about how you learn English. You have gone through your book and found 7 treasures hidden in your book. And now it's time for your task. The task for today's lesson is a writing task. You're going to write about this school year. The title is My Year in Review. You will write 70 to 80 words about this school year and include some of the answers and the information from the mind map, and we will organize your thoughts into a paragraph. Then you will write the introduction and the conclusion, and you will check your writing. This rubric can help you write a good text. Please pause this video and go through this rubric to see if your text can be described with the text written in the well done column. If you think you haven't reached that level, go back to your text and make some improvements. If you have written the text, it's time for a challenge. Can you write your story using these prompts? There is a very nice page called Emoji Prompts, and you can find the link to it in the left-hand side of the slide, birdseed.com emoji 2. How does it work? You click on the first prompt and it gives you your next prompts. You use them to talk about a topic or to write your story. Here are some ideas. Here are some of the challenges. And you can find some more here. If you are working on these materials in front of your computer, you can pause this video, choose your story, and write it. The bonus task for this lesson is creating your trading card, a trading card for your summer plans. Please go to bighugelabs.com and create your card. Include a photo of your favorite place, the place where you're going to spend your summer holidays, and write a few sentences about your general plan. Please include some plans for learning English. Create your card and share it. Now that you have done all your tasks, or at least one of the tasks, it's time to share. On the left-hand side of this slide, you will find the link to the Padlet, or you can scan the QR code that you can see. The Padlet is the place where you can share your trading card, your emoji story, or your short text entitled A Year in Review. Share your message. Let everybody know how well you've done this year and what plans you have for the future. The exit card for this lesson is really simple. You have to write only 2 sentences. One sentence about the activities in this lesson that you feel you have to go back and work some more. And one sentence about the activities in this lesson that you have done really well and you are proud of yourself. When you finish writing your 2 sentences, that's the end of today's lesson. Goodbye until next time.